Hello, and welcome to Mistakes Were Made. This is a channel I created to document my family's progress with debt reduction and eventual elimination. Today we are going to do the recap for the second pay period in February. We have closed everything out, and we're going to see how things changed or whether things turned out the way that we expected. And I can say up front, they did not. We can see here, this was our budget with me for that pay period. And I have already noted some differences that we came across. So first of all, my particular income ended up being different. I did have a bonus that came in. We had his pay, which was messed up because of a PTO payout thing that didn't go right. And so we had to make some adjustments to the actual amount that came in and try and figure out what we could actually spend versus not. In the end, it turned out that they overpaid by $1,000. There's in some of our past videos, we kind of explain how they're going to kind of take that money back. We had some slight differences in what the rollover amount from the first pay period of February was going to be, in a few different cents situations. Actually, this was more significant than that. That was like 20 something dollars. Then we also had some Etsy income that came in. So in the end, our starting funds was not the $5,023.33. It actually ended up being $4,189.55. Similarly, for the cash envelopes, we did have some slight change. It's a big amount, but it's not a huge change in the grand scheme of things. We had initially intended to do $500 when we saw that he had gotten his PTO payout, and then things were kind of in flux and we didn't know how much they were going to take back. So we dropped it down to 200. Once we learned, okay, this is what is going to actually happen, we actually bumped it back to the 500. So instead of having 811, it is now actually $1,111 for the cash envelope costs. The mortgage and the credit card. So at this time, the mortgage was still the standard $840. And then for the credit cards, we did not have any changes to our standard expectations. So those were still $475. The recurring monthly costs, there were some differences with this. Now, first of all, because of when the PGE bill cycles, as a general rule, we do typically know what we're going to be charged a few days to a week before the pay period comes up. So even though in the budget it's initially $150 is kind of our guesstimate, we are usually able to update that pretty quickly to what the actual cost is. The gas bill comes in later, so we can't do that. So we have a guesstimate of $150. Whew, we definitely went over that. It was $190.75. I did go and look to see, what did we pay last year around this time? And it was actually a little bit more. And the month prior was like $20 or $30 more. So though there was an initial freak out about this total, in the perspective of year over year, it wasn't unusual. So, and it is what it is. So it's not like we're going to be able to get them to reduce that. For the phone bill, previously to now, it's been about $97 and some change. So we've, used $98. The last 2 months, it has actually been $98 and some change. So we are going forward, be changing this from 98 to 99 for our budgeting purposes, but it was 98.86. So instead of being $650.15, it actually ended up that our bill total was $691.76. And then last but not least, we did have some budget overrun. I'll be honest, I don't remember exactly what it was that caused us to go over. I think there was one fast food run, and then I think we went to the grocery store. Yeah, we went to the grocery store and bought a few things for like a project meal, and so that created an overrun because we didn't use our cash envelopes. I want to say for the week we'd already done our grocery shopping, and so we didn't have like the cash on us or whatever. So we just used our debit card. But we did have an overrun of $45.49. So if we take all of that together, we'll take 4189.55, which was our total that we were starting with, and subtract all of the costs. 691.76 and 45.49. We get a total leftover of $1,026.30. Now we like to keep our buffer of $200. If you've been around with my channel for a while, you're familiar with that. And if not, well, now you know, and by the way, welcome. So we'll take our $200 off of there. That gives us a total of $826.30. Now, again, if you're familiar with the channel, you know we have gotten to a point where we are no longer assigning all leftover money, so this amount directly to savings for the job situation. We are now divvying this up between debt and additional savings, 75%, 25%. So to that end, we've got this little handy dandy thing. We're going to take this and subtract 75%, which gives us $206. And then we'll get back to this and we will subtract 206, which leaves us with $620 for debt and savings. Now, of course, if we take 620 plus 206, that's 826, and there's 30 cents. So our rollover will actually be $200.30. So not too shabby, not too shabby. Now, because this is a recap, we have already closed out the pay period, so we have already allocated this money to where it's going to go. The 206 has gone to the savings account that holds the buffer that we have been creating for when my job goes away. The $620 we are actually putting into two different areas. We are doing $500 to my mom, the loan that my mom gave us, and then we are doing the remaining $120 to the Bank of America credit card. That is the credit card that has the 0% promo that is going to expire the soonest. So you'll likely be hearing me say this as we continue on, that's going to be where we're going to be focusing most of our debt application, because we want to get that knocked down as soon as possible. Now, if you saw our budget with me, which I think probably came out a few days ago at the time of this video being posted, you know that we are budgeting to do some additional money towards the mom loan for next pay period, so for the 1st through the 15th of March. So I think, and I'm trying to remember, I'm hoping that I'm not going to be over speaking, and maybe I'm going to take a little peek over here. Yes, I think between what we have already allocated for the mom loan with this and what we're planning on having to pay the mom loan in the first pay period of March, I think we're going to have this paid off. We'll see how it goes. You know, life likes to throw crazy stuff at you, so you never know. But I think that's what we're going to be doing. So very excited about that. Okay, but of course we do still have to get to the end of the pay period in March so that the leftover that's going to debt and savings will have that $500 to go there and get us to that goal. But let's move on. So now we are going to look at how much debt reduction we have for the month of February. So we can see here that we started for the Bank of America with $8,745. It has dropped down to $8,295. Now, I will say we did not, when I created this little template, I had not added the $120 to it. And what we're actually doing is the payment for this in March is pretty close to the start of the month. So instead of just putting $120 towards it right after we close this out, I just adjusted that payment. So instead of the standard $225, it's going to be $345. So that's why we're not seeing more of an adjustment here. But that said, 8,745 minus 8,295. We do have the reduction of $450, which is about standard. Now for the Citibank, $7,325 went down to $7,225. It's $100. The Discover card, we're going to have to use the calculator for this one, is $10,281.72, and we are now at $10,202.62, so a difference of $79.10. The mom loan, $1,749, came down to $1,499, and I'm pretty sure that's $250, but let's math it just in case. Yeah, $250. And again, I am not counting the reduction of this right now because the actual reduction isn't happening until March 1st, essentially, when we take the money out and put it into the cash envelope that we have for that. So we'll see a difference next pay period. And then for the last loan, 13, it's not really a loan, it's a credit card, $13,470 minus $13,295 is a difference of $175. Now then, you can basically tell which one has interest that gets applied to it, because the payment that we're making on this every month is $250, but we are only getting the benefit of about $80 of that, and that's because we're getting charged around $170 for interest. So obviously, if we can get this on a zero interest plan, that would be great. I am not looking at pursuing that right now. My partner and I, we talked about it. We already have, multiple ones on a 0%, and I think it's in our best interest to kind of focus on these first and try and get them handled so that we don't have too many deadlines that we need to meet and be in a position where we might potentially miss one or two. because we definitely don't want to do that and then have to pay back all of the accrued interest for the time that it was not being charged. So that isn't to say sometime in the future we won't transition this to a 0%. It just, we want to be careful with how we are trying to leverage these opportunities. So we've got the 175 plus 250 plus 7910 plus 100 plus 450 means we had a reduction in debt of $1,054.10. So not too shabby. Would love for it to be more, but I think now as we're going forward, we are going to see this amount increase. Obviously, what we are able to put towards debt right now is definitely going to be very different to what we'll be able to put towards debt once the job officially goes away. So we are trying to utilize this kind of limbo time now that we've hit our saving goal to its fullest. And we'll see how long that lasts. But yeah, I would love for it to be more, but it's bigger than 0, so that is all right by me. We are very much looking forward to starting to see these numbers come down even more, and we'll see what the future brings. Okay, so now if we go ahead and look at the information for the first pay period of March. Some of this is already known because it was in the budget with me, but we already know what his pay is for, that's covering this upcoming pay period, as well as mine, plus the bonus that he received, and then of course, oopsie, our rollover amount, which puts us at 74, what is that? That looks ugly. $7,413.69. I feel like maybe this rollover amount is slightly different than what we actually ended up with. But we're not going to worry about a few cents or even a dollar or two here. But this is close to what we started with. I have my budget with me, paperwork around here somewhere. We're at our dining room table, and it's on the mess somewhere on the dining room table. I will not show that to you guys. We had anticipated we were going to have 37.18. Obviously, it's a little bit more because we had the bonus. We also were with the overpayment for the PTO. We have moved $1,000 into savings to kind of help us pay back what they're going to take out. I can say as of today, he did have his paycheck that came in on the 1st, and that was reduced from the normal $1,561 that he would get. So we will be drawing from that $1,000 that we saved to boost it back up to the expected minimum that we have been seeing in the past. But that's where we are. That is how our February 2nd pay period went. We stayed on budget for the most part. We did have obviously some changes, some things that you can't control, like the income adjustments. Some things, of course, we probably could be a little bit better about, but it's not. I am looking at this as it's not as bad as it could have been, and plus we had the money to cover. We did not use debt. Speaking of that, that is incredibly crucial to seeing this process work properly, the reduction. If we were still spending and utilizing our credit cards the way we were before, one, we wouldn't have the extra money at the end of the month because we would have frittered it away on things. And that's not to say spending money on yourself and doing things that you enjoy is a bad thing and shouldn't be done. It's just we weren't doing it with intention. We weren't doing it with any kind of plan. So it really was just like water trickling through our fingers. And, if we were continuing to do that, we wouldn't have any real sense of what we have left and what we could put to debt, etc. And of course, if we were still utilizing the credit cards, it wouldn't really matter how much we were putting on there because we wouldn't be making any progress forward because we would just be constantly increasing that debt at the same time that we're trying to reduce it. So it'd really kind of be an exercise in futility. So those two kind of habit changes, or I don't want to say attitude changes because I don't know, that feels like it has a negative connotation to me. I guess it's just, just being more mindful and having that mindset change is, I think, very, very critical to us being able to progress to the point where we have. So that's it. That is our recap for the second pay period in February, the 16th through the 29th. Hopefully you found something of interest in here. As always, if you have any suggestions, ideas, feedback, just want to say hi, drop that below. I try to read every single one of them and give a response of some sort. And I hope you will check out the next videos coming out. I'm expecting to do a cash stuffing and actually do the cash stuffing coming up. I think we're going to do a video to touch on, the tax refund situation and how we are going to utilize that chunk of money. And then maybe a video going over the new spreadsheet format that we have put into place. That one's still a little bit iffy. We'll see. But that's what you can kind of expect coming forward, and I hope you'll enjoy it. All right, on that note, I guess we'll see you in the next one.